Emily Thompson, 27 years old, is a jewelry appraisal expert. She loves sitting with her long slender legs crossed, sipping coffee, and quietly watching the jewelry store across the street through the large office window, where customers come and go with interesting expressions. Sometimes, she directs her gaze outside, where the brilliant sunshine spreads, making faces appear radiant, like blooming sunflowers full of vitality and hope. Emily Thompson is enchanted by this feeling, as if time quietly slips by amidst the busy moments, carrying with it the rays of youth. Perhaps this is what youth truly is. She wondered to herself. At 27 years old, she has already started to feel the faint signs of time fading. In her profession, dealing with precious gems and jewelry, she has a unique perspective. She believes that a woman's love for jewelry reflects her true nature. Some women simply love diamonds, gems, or anything with high value. This love has nothing to do with the man next to them, nor is it tied to intangible things like love. In fact, jewelry is more trustworthy than men. First, it never lies. Second, it never betrays. Third, it never hurts women. She divides women into two categories, those who like jewelry and those who don't. The first category includes ordinary women, while the second consists of fairy-like women. But fairies usually live deep in the mountains, drinking pure spring water from nature. Because of her profession, Emily Thompson has trained sharp eyes that not only recognize the quality and authenticity of jewelry but can also see through people in an instant. She can immediately tell which women are mortals and which are fairies. For instance, the current Lily Anderson clearly belongs to the first type. Why, current Lily Anderson and not Lily Anderson of the past or Lily Anderson of the future? This will be explained later. As for Bella Maxwell, she undoubtedly belongs to the second type. As for herself, Emily Thompson sees herself as somewhere in between the two types. She believes that she is more rational and practical than either, or at least more reliable. The levels of women are just like those of jewelry, each one is different, much like diamonds with different grades of clarity from LC, VVS, VS, SI to P, with vastly differing values. In her heart, Bella Maxwell actually holds a very high position. As Emily Thompson was thinking about Bella Maxwell, she received a call from her. "Hey Emily, how did the guy I introduced to you the other day turn out?" Emily Thompson was very good at observing women, but when it came to men, she always found them hard to read. Perhaps that's why her relationships never lasted more than 3 months, as if she were under some sort of curse. Because of this, she constantly found herself on the path of blind dates. Although she thought of herself as still young and not in a rush, marriage seemed to be the typical case of, the emperor's not anxious, but the eunuchs are. Her friends were worried, her father was worried, and her mother was even more worried. Her mother would often say, "Back in my day, I gave birth to you at 24, and even then, I felt like I was getting married late. Now you're almost 30, and there's still no progress, how can I not be worried?" So, Emily Thompson became a regular at dating events like 6-person dinner and 8-minute dates. At one point, her photo even ended up on the homepage of a dating website without her knowing. She just wanted to dig a hole and hide in it. Setting aside all those embarrassing moments, Emily Thompson suddenly remembered the date she had 3 days ago with a fairly handsome guy. He looked good, had a decent aura, and sported a bit of a stubble that made him appear quite masculine. What stood out the most was how gentle and considerate he was. Just last night, they went out for sushi, and he gently wiped away a smear of ketchup from the corner of her mouth, teasing her, "If you go out like this, people will think you're a full-bellied vampire." Thinking back, Emily Thompson couldn't help but smile, her charming dimples showing. But she quickly maintained a nonchalant expression, afraid that Bella Maxwell would tease her. She melts as soon as she sees a handsome guy. You've seen men who are lustful, but have you ever seen a woman like this? It's going well, we might. Emily Thompson intentionally dragged her words, teasing Bella Maxwell's curiosity. As her eyes wandered casually to the jewelry store across the street, she suddenly spotted a man who looked very familiar. Upon closer look, she saw a beautiful woman trying on a diamond ring, and the man gazing affectionately at her. Wasn't he the same guy who wiped ketchup off her lips yesterday and called her a vampire? Bella, hold on a sec, I need to deal with something. Emily Thompson hung up, quickly walked into the store, and strode directly toward the man. Without hesitation, she slapped him across the face. Everyone around was stunned. She calmly dusted off her hand, smiled, and said, "No worries, everyone carry on." Then she walked back to the office, ready to resume her conversation with Bella Maxwell. Before she could sit down, Manager James from the sales department stormed in, his face red with anger. "Emily Thompson. If you keep acting like this, I will fire you." Emily Thompson calmly raised her hand and nonchalantly replied, "Do whatever you want, but drop that cliché line, okay? You." Manager James was so furious that he couldn't find the words, finally muttering in frustration, "I need to go apologize to the customer first, and then I'll deal with you." On the other end of the line, Bella Maxwell anxiously asked, Hello, Emily, what happened?" "It's all thanks to you. You introduced me to such a guy. Do you know how embarrassed I was?" The noise around her made it impossible to say more, so she hung up, feeling frustrated. Although she wasn't boiling with anger, Emily Thompson was still disappointed. In the past, she could at least maintain a relationship for 3 months, but this time it only lasted 3 days. Could it be that her romantic luck had run out? Manager James dragged the guy with the red handprint on his face, standing in front of Emily Thompson. "You have to apologize to him, he just spoke up for you." Emily Thompson wasn't afraid of Manager James, and in fact, she didn't take him seriously at all. A 50-year-old man trying to curry favor with a young woman in front of the boss made everyone else feel embarrassed, but he didn't even blush or show any concern. The boss, however, was easygoing, enjoying flattery. Still, the boss was a close friend of her father, and since Emily Thompson worked hard and responsibly, Manager James couldn't find any reason to trouble her. Now, with a small mistake, he finally had an opportunity. Emily Thompson stood up, thinking that the slap from earlier wasn't enough. Now this guy had the nerve to come and explain himself. She hated men who two-timed and lied. These married men who still went on blind dates. The earlier slap was to vent her anger, the next one would be for his wife. Just as she finished, her hand swung up to deliver another slap, but the guy quickly blocked it. His face flushed with anger. "I came to explain, not to be slapped by you. You must have misunderstood. Why are you being so unreasonable and absurd? I must have been blind to meet you." His face was full of anger, like a lion roaring. "The woman with me is my future sister-in-law. She's about to get married. My brother has been on a business trip for the past few days, so he asked me to take her to look at wedding jewelry. Once she's chosen, he'll buy it when he gets back." After saying this, he stormed out. At the door, the woman he called his future sister-in-law glanced at Emily Thompson with a meaningful look and then followed him. Emily Thompson stood frozen, both stunned and thinking to herself, "How could I have known? Sure, his sister-in-law is beautiful, but with that suggestive look, how could I not misunderstand? If only she had a label on her forehead." Manager James stomped his foot in frustration, his face tense. "I'm definitely reporting this to the chairman." "Go ahead, but make sure to spice it up with some exciting details, or else the boss might find the story too dull to care about." Watching Manager James storm off in anger, Emily Thompson chuckled quietly, but the smile quickly faded as the image of that guy appeared in her mind. She had truly let her emotions get the best of her. Someone usually so composed, how could she have let herself lose control so irrationally? It was truly embarrassing. "What do you think, could a man like him be so petty as to hold a grudge against me?" Emily Thompson muttered to herself, as if seeking an answer from within. Meanwhile, Bella Maxwell, while relaxing on a soft bed, enjoying the soothing lavender essential oil aroma, had no idea that this sense of peace would soon be interrupted. The skincare specialist gently but continuously pointed out, your skin doesn't seem to be in great shape, pimples on your forehead, dark spots under your chin, and large pores. You probably don't take care of your skin much, right? Bella Maxwell, true to her name, was always calm, not just in her expression, but also in her soul. Right now, she was deeply infatuated with an artist who, for the sake of his passion for art, had quit a stable job, spent all his money on a camera, and lived in Tibet for 6 months. When he ran out of money, he returned, but still hadn't found a job. However, every time he opened his mouth, he started with, "When I was in Tibet." This story captivated Bella Maxwell so much that she was willing to sacrifice everything for him. Emily Thompson couldn't stop laughing. She's so in love she doesn't even care about her appearance anymore. She thought love would make her look better, but she's looking worse than ever. She laughed so hard that the beauty specialist nearly slipped with the eyebrow trimming blade. Please sit still. It's fine to talk, but laughing too much is dangerous. My blade doesn't play around. The young woman attending to Emily Thompson gently scolded, her voice so sweet it could melt anyone's heart, especially men. Meanwhile, Bella Maxwell casually responded, though her skin was clearly not in the best shape, "My skin may not be perfect, but I have a warm heart." When you have someone in your heart, life feels beautiful. Only those who are empty inside worry about every little thing. Emily Thompson smirked and shook her head, "You're really poisoned by love, there's no cure for you now. With your temper, any man would run away in fear. You're too soft, too easy to be pushed around. Anyway, how are you going to fix things with William Carter? I really don't know how to apologize to him. You slapped him out of nowhere, and you were about to slap him again. Even though the second slap didn't land, it's basically attempted violence. When I introduced you to him, I described you as gentle and graceful, like the embodiment of Bella Snow. But now, you've turned into a fierce girlfriend straight out of a Korean drama." Emily Thompson hurriedly defended herself, "Oh my God, I'm usually gentle. It was just a misunderstanding." Bella Maxwell sighed, "Come on, someone as smart as you will figure it out. I still have to go help Samuel Carter develop photos, I feel like a nanny and an ATM." Emily Thompson tried to advise, "Bella, honestly, living with a man like that will be exhausting, and after marriage, things will only get more tiring." Bella Maxwell calmly responded, "I know, but he is my fate. I accept it." Emily Thompson sighed, "Fate indeed, but sooner or later, he will drain all your energy. Anyway, you're still better off than Lily Anderson." Bella Maxwell asked curiously, "I wonder how she's doing now." These past few days, they've been happily enjoying life in Lijiang. A woman who compromises her life for a man, living in secrecy, a professional third wheel, I really can't imagine doing that. As soon as Lily Anderson was mentioned, Emily Thompson exploded, "He's absolutely shameless. Lily Anderson dares to love a married man, and even deludes herself that love is something she can sacrifice for unconditionally. Lily Anderson is so confident that she believes she can conquer the world, let alone a man. The harder it is, the deeper the love. She once said that if they end up together, it would be heaven's blessing." Recalling Lily Anderson's confident expression when she said that, Emily Thompson grew even more furious. Emily Thompson thought to herself, how could someone as smart as Lily Anderson make such a foolish mistake? No matter how wealthy that man is, he's not worth her blind pursuit. If it weren't for their friendship, she wouldn't care enough to get so upset. She was equally worried about Bella Maxwell, as her naive friend had gotten involved with a dreamy but unrealistic man like Samuel Carter. Bella Maxwell comes from a single-parent family, relying on a small flower shop and a cramped rental room. This only heightened Emily Thompson's concerns. Could someone like Samuel Carter, with his fanciful lifestyle, offer anything but trouble and pain to Bella Maxwell? She thought to herself, Samuel Carter was probably just taking advantage of Bella Maxwell's kindness. If this continued, she would end up getting hurt. Bella Maxwell was like a fragile porcelain vase, one slight knock and she could shatter into pieces. That was not the outcome Emily Thompson wanted, but Bella Maxwell was too immersed in this relationship, leaving Emily Thompson feeling powerless. Their bond was deep, time could erase many things, from loves that once seemed eternal to friendships thought to last forever, yet the friendship between her and Bella Maxwell remained steadfast and unchanged. Although the two had faced some small conflicts over the years, they always cared for each other and kept in touch regularly. While they applied their face masks, both remained silent. Emily Thompson relaxed and closed her eyes for a while. After finishing their skincare routine, they both felt hungry, so they decided to go to a Western restaurant and ordered 2 steak dinners. Bella Maxwell said, "It's you treating again." "Well, I'll be gentle since it's on you." "Alright, I'll be the good person here and call William Carter over. What happens next depends on your luck. I'm not making any promises." I knew it, Bella Maxwell is the kindest, most generous, and most chivalrous girl in the world, Emily Thompson teased. Bella Maxwell chuckled lightly and then made a call. "Hello, William Carter, it's me, Bella. Have you eaten yet? Come join us for dinner." "Yep, it's just me here. Next time, I'll paint something for your bar for free, consider it a gift." "Come on, it's just dinner, not a bribe." "What, do you think you're some kind of minister, governor, or mayor?" After hanging up the phone, Bella Maxwell winked playfully. "It's done. William Carter will be here soon. We've known each other for a long time, but nothing has developed. Honestly, sometimes being too familiar makes it hard to start something. He's handsome and smart. I think you two would be a great match. When he arrives, make sure to be polite and apologize properly. It's good for women to be strong, but don't be too stubborn, or you'll just come off as rude." "Pfft, what are you talking about? Do you really think I'm like that?" Emily Thompson retorted. While waiting, Emily Thompson received a call from Lily Anderson. "Hey, bestie. I'm coming back soon. Do you or Bella want anything from India? Beautiful bohemian dresses, Tibetan bone bracelets? Or maybe I'll bring you a sheep's head to display in your living room, and you can offer incense to it 3 times a day, haha." Emily Thompson weakly responded, "It's up to you, but please don't bring a sheep's head. I'm sure you can't carry it. And hey, just don't steal anyone's husband, okay?" Lily Anderson laughed and joked, "Don't worry, someone else's man will eventually be mine anyway. I don't mind, so why are you worried? Just wait and see." Emily Thompson sighed and abruptly hung up the phone, not wanting to prolong the conversation. Bella Maxwell chuckled helplessly. She's the type who always gets what she wants, no matter the consequences. She wasn't like this before, but honestly, she's been through a lot. A woman who has gone through a failed marriage, it's truly terrifying. Emily Thompson fell silent. It was true, Lily Anderson wasn't always like this. She had gone through a painful marriage. If this had happened to someone else, Emily Thompson might have dismissed it as just another story, something to forget quickly. But because it was Lily Anderson, a close friend, she couldn't let it go. Lily Anderson was the first among their group of friends to get married, once admired by them as a shining example of love and marriage. However, when she was 3 months pregnant, her husband had an affair. The whole group knew the other woman, someone who frequented the same bar they often visited. She always had a cigarette in her hand, and the men around her changed like the wind. They even secretly joked about numbering the men around her, counting up to 37. But no one expected that the 38th man would be Kenneth Tan, Lily Anderson's husband. It was hard to believe, almost absurd, but also deeply heartbreaking. The shock left Lily Anderson utterly devastated. She couldn't comprehend how the husband who once vowed to stay by her side for life could openly demand a divorce. As a result, their marriage ended, and she lost the baby. During that time, Emily Thompson and Bella Maxwell often stayed by Lily Anderson's side, fearing she might do something drastic. For nearly half a year, Lily Anderson was like a shell of her former self, and just looking at her made people feel both heartbroken and worried. Eventually, she snapped out of it, but she had changed, becoming involved with a married man. Thinking about all this, Emily Thompson could only smile bitterly. Soon after, William Carter arrived. The moment he saw Emily Thompson, he turned to Bella Maxwell in surprise. "Didn't you say it was just you?" Bella Maxwell shrugged slightly and smiled. "It's just girl talk, don't believe everything. I've finished eating, now I need to go to the photo shop to develop photos for Samuel Carter. You two go ahead and chat, I'm leaving first." She winked playfully at Emily Thompson before quickly adding, "I've lured him here, now it's up to you." With that, she grabbed her bag and left. William Carter called out loudly after her, "Hey, you called me here and now you're leaving? No responsibility at all." Bella Maxwell just waved her hand, "Someone else will take care of it." Emily Thompson smiled lightly and pushed the menu toward him. "All right, William Carter, let me treat you to dinner as an apology, is that enough?" William Carter raised an eyebrow, clearly not satisfied. "You call this an apology? Looking at this, one would think I've committed some major crime. If you don't have any sincerity, just forget it." With that, he stood up, ready to leave, still clearly upset. He had never felt so humiliated before, and the frustration inside him hadn't subsided. Sensing the tension, Emily Thompson quickly stood up and grabbed his hand. "Come on, William, it's my fault for not being clear, and you ended up taking the blame. I'm sorry, okay?" She bowed theatrically, as if acting in a comedy scene. The way she acted nearly made William Carter choke on his water. He glanced around, noticing that many people were staring at them. "All right, sit down. If you keep acting like this, people might think something's going on between us," he sighed, trying to suppress a laugh. Emily Thompson smiled. "So, are we done with what happened before? I don't owe you anything now, right?" But William Carter still glared at her. "That's it? What else do you want? I've apologized, and I'm treating you to a meal. Do you want another slap or something?" William Carter thought for a moment before replying, "Yeah, you're right. I never lay a hand on women." "All right then, you're treating this meal, so we're even. A man like me doesn't hold grudges, I've got a heart as vast as the ocean." Emily Thompson shot him a glare, but knowing she was at fault, she softened her tone. "All right, go ahead and order. Eat whatever you like, but I'm only treating you for a full stomach, no takeout." William Carter appreciated her direct and clear attitude. At least, she wasn't like others who, when wrong, would try to beat around the bush, wanting to apologize but afraid of losing face, leaving others unsure if they really understood their mistake. He ordered a meal and glanced at Emily Thompson, a girl who seemed fragile but had a strong personality. He suddenly wondered, if they ever fell in love, or even got married, would she slap him if he casually chatted with other women? The thought made William Carter feel a bit scared. But on second thought, the last time had its reasons, and Emily Thompson couldn't be blamed. Walking with a woman to choose a wedding ring, who wouldn't misunderstand? Thinking about this, he felt more at ease. After all, she wasn't unreasonable. At that moment, Emily Thompson had finished eating, sipping on her water, and wondering how she could improve William Carter's impression of her. He seemed like a reliable person, and since Bella Maxwell had introduced them, he was surely better than the guys at those 6-person dinner parties. Not knowing what else to say, she asked casually, "So, by the way, your sister-in-law is quite beautiful, but isn't she a bit too charming?" "What?" William Carter stopped mid-bite, looking at her in surprise. Emily Thompson secretly wanted to slap herself. "I mean, your sister-in-law looks quite charming. So, when are they getting married? How did they meet?" She quickly changed the topic. With her sharp eye for observing women, Emily Thompson noticed that William Carter's sister-in-law was like a red spinel gem, dazzling on the outside but not a true ruby, and its value was far different. Without closely analyzing its hardness, color, and quality, who could tell? And just like with people's personalities, if you don't take the time to really know them, who could truly understand them? But one thing was certain, women who were too seductive on the outside were often hard to hold on to. This made Emily Thompson curious about what kind of man William Carter's brother was. "You're asking about my brother and sister-in-law. They met on a plane. My sister-in-law is a flight attendant. My brother had a stomachache during the flight, and she helped him out. They exchanged phone numbers, and their relationship just grew from there." "Oh, that's so romantic. Meeting in the sky, it's like a love destined by the heavens. If your sister-in-law doesn't mind, I could help design a custom wedding ring for them. I think they'd love it." "That sounds great, but they're getting married next week. Do you think you can finish it in time?" "Probably not a problem. Here's what I'll do, I'll go back and sketch out a design first. If they're happy with it, we can start making the ring right away. Sound good?" "Great, sounds perfect. It's amazing how you manage to turn an apology into a new order. Just prepare the sketch, and I'll show it to them." "All right then, deal." This meal was well worth it, though I won't be the one making money from it. While they were talking, Emily Thompson's phone rang. Glancing at the screen, she saw it was a call from the assistant office of Chairman Neville. "Sorry, I need to take this call for a moment." "Oh, all right. I'll be there soon." After finishing the call, Emily Thompson stood up. "It's my day off, and they're still calling me. So annoying. I need to head back to the office, the chairman has something urgent. I'll treat you next time, when the wedding ring sketch is done." "Waiter, check please." "It's fine, you just take care of your business. I already paid earlier." "Since when does William Carter let a woman pay?" Why did you do that?" "Fine, next time I'll treat you. I have to go now." A generous man always wins the favor of women, and when dining with them, there's no reason for him to let them pay. If a man quibbles over such a small amount of money, how can he even think about love? That's what Emily Thompson thought. However, if a woman offers to treat first, that's a different story. Emily Thompson also noticed another good quality of William Carter, his generosity, though sometimes it seemed like a way to maintain face. On her way back to the company, Emily Thompson suddenly had a bad feeling. Sure enough, as soon as she stepped into the chairman's office, she immediately felt a heavy atmosphere. Like a storm was about to break. Chairman Neville, over 50 years old, wore glasses and had a tall, sturdy build with the telltale signs of middle-aged weight gain, his stomach slightly protruding under his Hermes belt. He looked composed and serious, and from his facial features, one could tell he was quite handsome in his youth. "Go ahead and explain." Remembering how he'd often reminded her to address him by his company title, but she was used to calling him Uncle Neville, Emily Thompson corrected herself. "Chairman, why did you call for me?" "Emily, my dear, Manager James has told me everything about what happened with you." Emily Thompson knew well that Manager James would do this. If he didn't report this to the chairman, he probably wouldn't be able to eat, sleep, or even go to the bathroom peacefully. "Uncle Neville." Emily Thompson pouted, acting coy. Chairman Neville's face remained stern. "Don't pull that trick on me. Do you even know what you did wrong? Do you understand how important the company's image is for Neville Jewelry Corporation Jewelry? If you weren't part of the company, we would never allow such reckless behavior. But you are a senior employee here. Do you know how serious the consequences are? What will people say behind our backs? They'll claim Neville Jewelry Corporation is poorly managed, allowing staff to abuse their power." His harsh words were mainly because Chairman Neville usually spoiled Emily Thompson too much. He had never spoken to her so sternly, which caused Emily Thompson's eyes to well up with tears. Seeing this, he realized he had gone too far, so his tone softened. "Emily, this is only allowed to happen once. There must never be a next time, understand? You know you were wrong, and you already apologized. Besides, you're planning to design a custom wedding ring for the customer based on their preferences. Of course, it won't be free, don't worry, uncle. The customer has agreed, and if they're happy with the design, they'll definitely place an order here. Chairman Neville's expression softened. A good employee knows how to admit their mistakes and fix them. Make sure to design it carefully, I trust your talent. But honestly, you've made me worry a lot. How's your dad doing lately? Has his gout gotten better? I've been so busy, just got back from Sweden, and haven't had the chance to check on him. Yes, it's an old illness, but he's much better now. Whenever you have time, please come over to our house. He always asks about you. Yes, that's right. Ethan will be back in a few days. If you have time, take him out to have some fun. Ethan is coming back. That's great. How long will he be staying this time? Thomas has already earned his degree. He's been in England for so long, surely it's time for him to come home, right? Now that he's got his degree, it's the perfect time for him to return. I'm getting old, and my daughter is still young. He can help you get familiar with the company so that one day, he can take over your work. Ethan is coming back to take over your position, uncle. That's great. I'll be able to see Ethan more often. Why are you so happy? Are you hoping I'll retire early? I'm not leaving the company yet, at least not for another 5 years. Besides, Ethan isn't familiar with the company's operations yet. There are many things he doesn't understand, it's all just theory from books with no real-life experience. He'll need to learn from me, starting from the basics, and gradually work his way up. Uncle Neville, you're so far-sighted. When Ethan comes back, let me know, okay? It's been such a long time since we last met, I really miss him. Ask your dad if he's free this Saturday. If he is, both families can go out for a meal together. It's been a while since we all got together. Fortunately, Ethan is very talented and hasn't let anyone down. He's now a member of the British Gemological Association, the FGA. Wow, Ethan is amazing. Emily Thompson and Ethan Neville were childhood friends, growing up together. David Neville and Thomas Shen were once close comrades, with a deeply rooted bond. They had faced life and death together during their military years. In 1976, when they participated in the relief efforts after the Tangshan earthquake, they were both young and full of energy. The work of rescuing people gave them a sense of purpose and made them willing to dedicate themselves fully. There was a time when David Neville saw a bloodied hand sticking out from a gap between electrical wires. He immediately called Thomas Shen for assistance. The two put all their strength into rescuing the trapped child. However, a strong aftershock occurred, causing the entire area to collapse. Thomas Shen quickly pulled David Neville down to avoid the falling debris. While David Neville was unscathed, Thomas Shen suffered severe injuries to his leg, which has not fully recovered to this day. Because of this, David Neville always felt indebted to Thomas Shen and treated Emily Thompson as his own daughter, spoiling her endlessly. Emily Thompson, in turn, never hesitated to rely on him. However, the fact that they couldn't save the child remains the deepest regret for both men. They constantly blamed themselves for not being able to rescue the child in time. David Neville nodded, then sternly said, "This kind of incident must never happen again. I swear to Director Neville that there won't be a next time, okay? You're really something." David Neville shook his head helplessly, not knowing what more to say. However, the news that his son would be coming home soon made him feel much happier. It had been a long time since he had seen his son, and as a parent, how could one not miss their children when they were away from home? In fact, there had once been a verbal engagement between Emily Thompson and Ethan Neville when they were young. Emily Thompson was born 2 months after Ethan Neville, so David Neville and Thomas Shen used to joke that the two would become husband and wife. Back then, both families often called each other in-laws, but as time passed, everyone understood that marriage should be the free choice of the children and couldn't be forced. Truthfully, David Neville still hoped that Emily Thompson would become his daughter-in-law. However, after several years abroad, Ethan Neville came back with a foreign girlfriend. Neither David Neville nor his wife liked the girl very much, and they didn't want their son to marry a foreign bride. But since Ethan Neville was determined to be with her, they were left powerless. Emily Thompson once had a fleeting affection for Ethan Neville, but that was when she was under 10 years old. Later, after her family moved, they only occasionally saw each other, and although there was still some fondness, she didn't think much of it. When she heard that he had a foreign girlfriend, she gave up any hope. So, that's his type. Even if I were to interfere, it wouldn't make any difference. If pure friendship becomes mixed with other feelings, meeting each other would just be awkward. So why bother? When it came to matters of the heart, Emily Thompson was a clear-headed person. She avoided unnecessary complications and never forced herself into relationships. Instead of pursuing something that didn't suit her, she'd rather engage in a serious blind date. She was a woman with self-respect. Moreover, she and William Carter were gradually developing a relationship. Although there had been no significant breakthrough, she preferred a slow pace, always hoping for a warm and lasting love. To her, love was like a cup of tea with just the right warmth, gentle and enduring, warming the hands and, when sipped, warming the soul. That, she believed, was what beautiful love should be. When she returned to the office, she deliberately acted indifferent, strolling around the store. Deep inside, a glimmer of hope flickered. Could the one who holds my hand be William Carter? When Emily Thompson got home, two of her favorite dishes were already on the table, shredded chicken tofu and braised carp. Her mother was busy in the kitchen, while her father was engrossed in watching the news on TV. "Dad, why do you watch those endless news programs all day? Is there anything interesting?" "Why not? You're the one talking nonsense. To me, this news is full of truth. House matters, state matters, world affairs, we must care about them all." "You seem to care quite a lot, Dad." Emily Thompson dropped her bag, feeling her stomach rumble with hunger. She grabbed some cookies from the coffee table and began eating. Thomas Shen shook his head, his eyes full of affection. "You're about to have dinner, so why are you snacking? How are you going to eat properly later?" "I'm just having a few to take the edge off." "It won't affect my dinner, Dad." "You wouldn't let your daughter faint from hunger, would you? And if I fainted, I wouldn't be able to eat dinner anyway, right? You always have an excuse, just talking nonsense all the time." At that moment, her mother brought out a plate of freshly stir-fried vegetables and set it on the table. "By the way, what do you think of the guy that Bella Maxwell introduced you to? Do you two get along?" To ease her mother's worry, Emily Thompson replied honestly, "We just met, Mom. How would I know if we're a good match or not? Even if I think we get along, it doesn't mean he feels the same. But for now, it seems like we get along well enough." "Oh, come on, stop talking nonsense. Who's the turtle here, you or him?" Thomas Shen laughed along, adding, "If you think he's a good match, you should seriously get to know him. Don't just go through the motions. If necessary, I can investigate him for you, make sure he's worthy of my daughter." "Come on, Dad. If it weren't for you always interfering, I wouldn't still be single now," Emily Thompson complained. She had once been in a relationship, but Thomas Shen found out that her boyfriend wasn't a good person, and she had been upset with him at the time. Later, she realized her father was right. If she had blindly continued, she'd probably be miserable now. "I'm only trying to do what's best for you. If you marry the wrong person or end up with a terrible guy, it would truly be hell on earth. Thanks to me, you've avoided a marriage disaster so far. Oh, and one more thing, Uncle Neville invited us to dinner this Saturday. Ethan just graduated and came back to the country, so Uncle Neville wants everyone to get together. He mentioned it's been a long time since he's seen you, his life and death comrade. Are you busy? That's great. No matter how important something is, we should put it aside. Ethan coming back is great news, and my daughter has another backup option now. You two even had a marriage promise when you were kids, remember? We used to joke and call each other in-laws all the time. Dad, what are you saying? It's a different era now. Ethan already has a girlfriend. Do you expect me to butt in? But you can't just act recklessly, her mother chimed in. After all, you grew up together with him. It's different from other girls. This isn't butting in, it's fair competition. On TV, they call it a PK, even I know that. How could my daughter not understand? Thomas Shen couldn't help but laugh. All right then, do we need to bring a gift? No need, we're eating at a hotel. Bringing a gift would look strange. How about we bring along that 10-year-old plum wine we brewed at home? Emily Thompson suggested. We haven't even started drinking it yet, and it'll take forever to finish. All right, bring it along. Now, let's eat, Thomas Shen replied, looking at his daughter and feeling happy about meeting old friends tomorrow. Emily Thompson went to her room, took out paper and pencil, and began sketching the ring design for William Carter. She murmured to herself, they met on a plane, he helped her when she was sick. Plane, blue sky, white clouds, after thinking for a while, a spark of inspiration hit. I got it, she exclaimed and began drawing. When Emily Thompson's family arrived at the hotel, David Neville and his wife, along with their young daughter Megan Neville, were already there. On the table, several appetizers were set out, French foie gras, large steamed crabs from Yangqing Lake, fried soft fin fish, grilled red fish, mixed salads, and Emily Thompson's favorite, raw crab with ginger. After a few greetings, Emily Thompson asked, "Where's Ethan?" Mrs. Neville replied, "He just got back, but he's been so busy that he hasn't even shown up yet. He's on his way now, we'll be here in a few minutes." He's always like this, don't wait for him, go ahead and start eating. Mrs. Neville's eyes were full of affection. Even though she was over 50, thanks to taking good care of herself, she looked much younger, almost like someone in her 30s. Her smooth skin and elegant demeanor made her look like a wealthy lady, but what made her different was her warmth and approachability. Looking at her, one felt like they were meeting a kind and warm neighbor. However, Mrs. Neville's love for her son also meant she would be very picky when it came to choosing a daughter-in-law. Emily Thompson sensed that being Mrs. Neville's daughter-in-law wouldn't be easy, but she didn't dwell on it, because it wasn't her concern. Some people, she thought, were better off being acquaintances rather than being understood too deeply. Megan Neville, younger sister of Ethan, is 5 years younger than Emily Thompson and is still a student. She is lively and energetic, with a face that closely resembles her father's. In contrast, Ethan takes after their mother. Pouting, Megan Neville complained, "My brother. He's busy showing his foreign girlfriend around everywhere. It's her first time in China, and she finds everything so fascinating." David Neville smiled helplessly, "If only our families could become in-laws, that would have been wonderful." But unfortunately, it didn't happen. It was unclear if David Neville was intentionally speaking for everyone to hear, but the underlying meaning seemed clear. He wishes our families could have become in-laws, but it wasn't because of the parents that it didn't work out. Judging by their tone, though, they seem unhappy that Ethan Neville has a foreign girlfriend. Suddenly, Emily Thompson felt an inexplicable joy well up inside. How strange, she thought. What does this have to do with me? Why am I so pleased? Sensing the awkwardness in the air, Thomas Shen quickly added, "Nowadays, with young people, we don't need to worry about their marriages anymore. Let them make their own choices. As long as they're happy, that's all that matters. But honestly, my daughter, Emily, has given us plenty to worry about." "Dad." Emily Thompson quickly picked up a piece of meat and put it in her father's bowl, interrupting him. "Stop talking. Nonsense." The whole table laughed merrily, and just then, Ethan Neville entered. Emily Thompson hadn't seen him in years, and she realized he had matured a lot, looking both handsome and composed. Compared to William Carter, Ethan seemed much more manly, while William Carter still had a boyish appearance, lacking the confidence and strength that Ethan exuded. Perhaps Ethan is more mature because he has more experience in relationships, Emily Thompson thought to herself. Brother, why didn't Molly Lewis come with you? Megan Neville asked curiously. She heard I took a day off to have dinner with the family, and with the unofficial fiancé around, she got jealous and refused to come. Really? Are you teasing me? Megan Neville laughed out loud. Of course I'm joking. She was tired from sightseeing all day, so I took her back to the hotel to rest. Why the hotel? We have plenty of rooms at home. She hasn't officially met the family, yet she's staying at a hotel, it feels a bit off. Lady Neville coughed lightly. We can't just casually let Ethan bring a girl to stay overnight at our house. They've only met a few times, and if there's no engagement yet, nothing is certain. It seemed that Lady Neville wasn't very fond of this foreign girlfriend. Sensing his mother becoming serious, Ethan Neville quickly changed the subject. Uncle Thompson, it's been so long since I've seen you. Allow me to toast you with this drink. I'll finish mine first, please take your time. Emily Thompson said, Hey Ethan, I heard you just passed the FGA exam, congratulations. Let me offer you a toast, but don't go stealing my rice bowl, okay? Thomas Shen chimed in, what kind of talk is that? Your mom already said, he's the future boss, who would want your small position? David Neville whispered to Emily Thompson, hey, what is this FGA thing, anyway? Emily Thompson laughed and explained, FGA stands for Fellowship of the Gemological Association, one of the certifications from the British Gemological Association, which is one of the leading organizations in the world for gemstone appraisal and certification. Their certification is highly prestigious. Ethan Neville humbly chuckled, it's just a small certification, nothing big. Emily, we'll be colleagues from now on, I don't have much experience, so if I need help, please show me the ropes. Emily Thompson responded straightforwardly, of course, without a doubt. David Neville added with a smile, Emily Thompson has been working at Neville Jewelry Corporation for years, she's very skilled. Thomas Shen quickly said, Uncle Neville, you're too polite. It's the girl's responsibility. But, sometimes, she can be a bit hot-tempered, so you should be a bit stricter with her. Sensing the tension, Emily Thompson swiftly changed the subject, Mrs. Lai, your cat's eye stone bracelet is beautiful. It's a top-tier piece. Tin Man, where did you get your hair done? It looks amazing. Take me with you next time. I need to get my hair redone as well. Megan Neville smiled and replied, of course. I was planning to get my hair done soon, and with you coming along, it'll be even more fun. When the dinner ended, Ethan Neville offered to drive Emily Thompson's family home. But Emily Thompson quickly declined, no need, I drove here myself. Oh, this young lady is all grown up now. Alright then, come by my place sometime. We'll be seeing each other often anyway, since we work at the same company, right boss? Ethan Neville smiled, and the two families said their goodbyes. On the drive home, Emily Thompson's mother began to sigh. It was clear that Madame Neville wasn't too happy about Ethan Neville's relationship with the foreign girl. She said, we Chinese are very traditional, even when the daughter-in-law comes from another province, parents still feel uneasy, let alone if she's a foreigner. The Neville family only has one son. How can they easily accept a foreign daughter-in-law into the family? Emily, I still think you have a better chance than that foreign girl. Just give it a shot and PK her. I don't believe our Emily Thompson will lose to a Western girl. Mom, are you having daughter-in-law fever again? Whether this works out or not is their business. I can't just butt into their relationship. If they break up and I'm still single, maybe I'll give it a try, but not now. I don't want to ruin someone else's relationship. That's my principle. Moreover, it's Ethan's personal matter. Whoever he likes is his own choice. Nowadays, the law guarantees freedom in marriage. No one can arrange someone else's marriage, not even their parents. Forcing it will only lead to misery. In the end, it's not just the couple who will suffer, but both families too. Can you imagine how serious the consequences could be? Ugh, you always come up with so many reasons. I've lived long enough, don't you think I understand? You overthink everything. Thomas Shen chimed in, I think my daughter is living righteously, handling things clearly, not betraying others or herself, and that's good. That's my girl. Dad, I support you. Emily Thompson laughed, looking at her father and thinking how much wiser he was than her. Heh, you women will drive me crazy one day. At that moment, Emily Thompson's phone rang. It was William Carter. What are you up to? Let's go grab a drink. Feeling annoyed after being nagged by her mother, she responded quickly, sure, I'll be right out. She dropped her parents off at the door, then sped off in her car. Emily, it's late, where are you going? Her mother called after her. I'm going on a date. Emily Thompson sighed, yes, going out is better than staying home listening to my mom's nagging. I wonder if I'll turn into an old lady like her someday. Maybe it's inevitable for women to reach a certain age and start nagging. She chuckled at the thought of the nagging worms that couldn't be denied. When looking for William Carter's bar, she felt lost after going in circles. Who would have thought he opened a bar in such a secluded alley? It almost looked like a shady hidden restaurant. The name of the bar was also unique, Goon Bar Folk Songs. Who still listens to folk songs and rock nowadays? Emily Thompson wondered if a bar like this could survive. It was tiny, probably no more than 30 square meters. But she had to admit, despite its size, it had an artistic vibe. The walls were covered in posters with Chairman Mao's quotes, feathered masks of Native Americans, sheep skulls, and Tibetan and Nashi handicrafts, creating a sense of both classic and artistic. She wondered if the bar had enough amenities. What if a customer needed the bathroom while drinking? But soon after, she saw a door labeled WC and felt relieved. The restroom only had a toilet and a sink, barely enough space for one person. If someone too large tried to enter, they might get stuck. While admiring the bar's decor, Emily Thompson forgot she was there to find William Carter. When she heard raised voices, she turned to see William Carter arguing with a middle-aged woman. Since the bar was quiet, their argument was crystal clear and increasingly sharp. The woman, with her bright red lipstick, loudly said, if you can't even pay the rent, why are you running a bar? If you don't pay by tomorrow, pack up and leave. William Carter responded, his voice somewhat timid, I didn't say I wouldn't pay, it's just that business isn't doing well. Could you give me a few more days? I promise I'll gather enough money. The woman coldly replied, no. If you don't pay by 5 p.m. tomorrow, I will kick you out and throw all your stuff outside to rent the place to someone else. After saying that, she angrily left. Emily Thompson didn't expect that her first visit to see William Carter would witness such a scene. As she stood facing him, William Carter snapped out of his daze, as if suddenly realizing her presence, and awkwardly said, oh, have you been here for a while? Emily Thompson nodded. He asked again out of habit, did you hear everything? She nodded again. William Carter's face turned bright red, his hands fidgeting nervously as if he wanted to find a hole to crawl into. I'm really sorry, I didn't expect the landlady to show up right now. I wanted to invite you to try a drink I made. Emily Thompson smiled, sure, I've never tried your drinks before. William Carter quickly prepared a colorful drink for her, this one is special, just for you. I call it, Red Rainbow. Looks pretty, doesn't it? Emily Thompson gently sipped the drink, yes, it tastes good. Ah, I haven't thanked you yet for the wedding ring you designed for my brother and his wife. They are very happy with it. Here, my sister-in-law sent me some sweets to give you as a thank you. William Carter handed Emily Thompson a carefully wrapped bag of candies. Thank you. Please send them my best wishes for a long and happy life together. She opened the bag and popped a candy into her mouth. William Carter looked up at her casually. So, you heard that I owe rent? Business here hasn't been going well. I honestly didn't even know this bar existed, and I haven't heard anyone mention it. It seems like the bar's visibility is still quite low. It's both a passion and a startup. You like mixing drinks, you love folk music and rock. People often say turning your passion into work isn't always a good idea, but you don't think so, do you? You believe working for what you love is true happiness. You're a real idealist. But this bar is too small to grow big. If you can't even afford the rent, imagine if you opened a bigger one, wouldn't it be even harder? No one can bear losses forever. I think you could look for a partner. Profits or losses all depend on how much heart you put into it. If you work hard enough, nothing is impossible. Running a bar is tough, with lots of competition, but if you build a regular customer base, business will eventually stabilize. William Carter sighed. Yes, it's easy to talk but hard to do. But I'll think about your suggestion. Running a bar requires manpower, and if there are more shareholders, the workforce will grow, and the bar will gradually get busier. Doing everything alone is exhausting. I was thinking of borrowing money from my brother, but he just got married. You know how expensive weddings are these days, jewelry to buy, expensive parties, home renovations, gifts. Those are just the basics. He's drained his savings and even dipped into our parents' savings. Fortunately, they didn't have to buy a house, just renovated my dad's old place. The car was part of the bride's dowry. Otherwise, poor people wouldn't even be able to afford to marry. Now, with the house consuming all the money, I'm afraid I might not even be able to afford to get married myself. Emily Thompson smiled and said, I don't think those things are important. What matters most is the love between the two people. Love can't be bought with money. As long as both are committed and work hard, life will gradually get better. William Carter joked, if I meet a girl like you, I'll have to try my best to pursue her. Emily Thompson laughed, Ha, you're just talking nonsense again. The two of them continued chatting and drinking. The bar started to fill up, though only about half of the tables were occupied. It wasn't packed. Two singers arrived, probably recent graduates from the conservatory, and their singing was decent. They played and sang folk songs, creating a pleasant atmosphere. Emily Thompson thought to herself, I really like small bars like this, free and relaxed, much better than the noisy, smoky bars. The place isn't bad, it's just that the revenue hasn't caught up with the expenses yet. As William Carter finished speaking, a man approached, pointed to their table, and patted him on the shoulder. Hey, boss, how about a fruit platter for this table? William Carter agreed casually. Emily Thompson whispered, look at them, they're hardly spending any money, and you're giving them free fruit? Fruit is expensive these days. They're regulars. I don't want to lose them, William Carter replied. Just then, a sweet, overly charming girl called out, her voice so sugary it made Emily Thompson cringe, William, make me a cocktail, will you? Feeling her skin crawl, Emily Thompson muttered, William? Really? This is too much. William Carter smiled awkwardly, all right, I'll ask Violet Collins to make one for you. The girl smiled brightly and skipped back to her table. Now clearly annoyed, Emily Thompson said, why do you even bother running a bar? Someone like you in business, it's embarrassing. You might as well change the name of this place from Goon Folk Music Bar to The Servant Bar. Serving drinks, serving food, and now you're even serving yourself. William Carter laughed sheepishly, keep your voice down. Money isn't everything to me, what matters is doing what I love. Don't you get it? If your passion can also support you, then you've got nothing to worry about. Emily Thompson sarcastically remarked, a bar owner who can't even pay the rent, what's the point of pursuing your passion when you're about to be kicked out? William Carter thought for a moment and replied, you're right, but these people are regulars, they're like friends. They made a request, and I couldn't bring myself to say no. Emily Thompson raised her voice intentionally, once is fine, but you can't keep doing it. If they're truly your friends, they should be considerate of your situation, not just take advantage of you. William Carter lowered his tone, trying to soothe her, all right, let's just go for a walk, okay? That way, they won't ask for anything else. My staff can't make these decisions on their own. Fine. As they were about to leave, a man walked into the bar and called out cheerfully, William, are you heading out? Yeah, what's up, Nick Turner? I've got some friends coming over. Could you hook us up with some snacks? William Carter quickly replied, all right, I'll get you a plate of dried beef, but this is the last time, okay? Emily Thompson couldn't hold it in any longer and snapped, William, you can't even afford the rent. Soon, you won't have a place for you all to gather anymore. Really? Is that true, William Carter? William Carter smiled awkwardly and nodded, the bar is too small. Emily Thompson deliberately raised her voice so that everyone in the bar could hear, that's right, the landlord just came by and gave an ultimatum. Tomorrow is the final deadline. If the rent isn't paid, this bar will have to close. The young man named Nick Turner thought for a moment, then clapped his hands and said, everyone, we all know how generous William Carter is, and we all see this place as our second home. Now that Goon Folk Music Bar is facing difficulties, let's help however we can. After all, we've shared so many great memories here. After saying that, he pulled out 200 yuan and handed it to William Carter. It's a small gesture, take it for now. When the bar thrives, just remember to treat me to a drink. Oh, how could I accept this? William Carter awkwardly took the money, unsure of what to do. At that moment, others began to approach as well, donating 100, 200, or 300 yuan. This scene moved Emily Thompson as well. The girl who had earlier asked for a cocktail blushed as she stepped forward, handing over some money and saying, William, from now on I won't ask you to gift me drinks anymore. I just cancelled the private room I had reserved, and I'll tell them to come here and spend their money. William Carter repeatedly thanked everyone, thank you all. Besides expressing his gratitude, William Carter didn't know what else to say to convey his emotions. He said, moved, thank you all for supporting and helping Goon Folk Music Bar. Because of your kindness, I will do my best to keep the bar running. One day, when the bar turns a profit and is stable, I'll invite you all to drink as much as you want. Does that sound good? Okay. Everyone in the bar responded in unison, and applause filled the room. Thanks to this, Emily Thompson and William Carter decided not to go outside but stayed at the bar. People had raised around 2,000 yuan. Despite receiving help, William Carter couldn't hide the worry on his face. As they left the bar, Emily Thompson asked, how much are you still short? Still over 50,000 yuan left. Emily Thompson thought for a moment, then asked, can you manage it? After all, Bella Maxwell introduced you to me, and I trust that you're reliable. Just then, William Carter's phone rang. Hold on a second. Emily Thompson nodded while William Carter answered the call, sorry, I was driving earlier, so I couldn't pick up. Is there something urgent? Well, nothing serious, just going through some tough times recently. You? Having a hard time? You're usually not short on money. Do you need 50,000 yuan? If that's too much, 30,000 yuan. Or 20,000 yuan could work too. What? Only 5,000 yuan. Alright, 5,000 yuan it is. I'll come see you tomorrow morning. Make sure you have the money ready. William Carter forced a smile at Emily Thompson, his face slightly embarrassed. I still have a few friends, let me try asking them. He continued to make a call. Hello, Daniel Young, what are you up to? I need a favor, I've been facing some difficulties lately. Oh. You're being chased for debt. Oh, someone 200,000 yuan. Then I'm out, I really don't have money. Sorry. William Carter quickly hung up, as if holding a hot potato. Hearing this, Emily Thompson couldn't help but giggle. William Carter grumbled, damn it, before I could even ask for a loan, he was already asking to borrow from me. Normally they all pretend to be rich, but when it's time to lend money, they hide like turtles. He made another call. Peter Daniels, I heard you just got a girlfriend, must be enjoying life, right? Congratulations. Anyway, to the point, I'm a bit short on money recently, could you? Peter Daniels on the other end was saying something, but William Carter had to hold the phone away from his ear, and after a while, he just muttered, yeah. William Carter finally couldn't take it anymore and said, hey, Peter Daniels, my phone's about to die, so let's leave it at that. Goodbye. He was completely deflated, sighing, oh man, is it really that bad? I just mentioned I was short on money, didn't even say how much, and he started complaining about his girlfriend. Fuel costs for driving her around, meals he has to cover, going shopping and footing the bill. If he doesn't buy her a gift, she gets mad. And during holidays, it gets worse, he has to buy presents. And then, at the end of the night, he's out a few hundred yuan for a hotel room. If everything goes well, he has to buy a house, take out loans, and in the end, he's buried in debt. He kept going on like he's worse off than I am. Any longer and he'd have asked me for money, maybe even offered to hand over his girlfriend. Emily Thompson couldn't stop laughing. Well, that sounds like a good deal for you. William Carter grimaced, a girlfriend like that? No thanks. I can't handle it. Is it really that hard to lend a little money? It's not like I'm a deadbeat. I'm not the type to run off with the loan. It's just a small amount. Emily Thompson chuckled, it seems like you don't have many real friends who care about you. But making money isn't easy, everyone's got their struggles. These days, it's hard to borrow money, though there are plenty of people who owe millions and just disappear. She paused for a moment and then continued, all right, here's what we'll do. I have a bit of extra money saved up. I'll transfer it to you, take it and handle what you need to. But, just so you know, you'll have to write me an IOU. And don't forget to pay me back because I'm really good at collecting debts. William Carter was surprised, are you serious? Do you really trust me that much? He couldn't hide his astonishment at Emily Thompson's trust. They had only met a few times, hadn't even reached the stage of dating, and yet she was willing to help him financially. In truth, William Carter had never considered borrowing money from Emily Thompson, and generally, he avoided borrowing money from women. Relationships between men and women could be complicated and delicate. Even though I don't know what the future holds for us, for now, when it comes to borrowing money, I see you as a true friend. Don't overthink it, and you don't need to repay me with your body either. William Carter burst out laughing, I wouldn't mind paying you back that way. Thank you so much, you're helping me out a lot here. I promise I'll repay you as soon as possible. I'll work harder on managing the bar. I even want to expand it further. Bella Maxwell and Samuel Carter are regulars here, so Goon Folk Music Bar has a loyal customer base. I'm not going to give up easily. Emily Thompson found herself somewhat admiring men like William Carter, always fighting for their ideals. Even though his work hadn't seen much success yet and his life was still full of difficulties, she said, I support you. Even if we don't end up together, I still hope to be a good friend to you. William Carter smiled and high-fived her, deal. However, deep inside, Emily Thompson felt a bit uneasy. Why was everything going in the direction of friends? What she needed was a boyfriend, not another friend. But then she thought, if they really ended up together, William Carter would surely never forget that she had helped him during his hardest times. That would only make their bond stronger. Thinking like that, Emily Thompson felt a bit more excited. Meanwhile, Bella Maxwell, after finishing work, was riding her electric scooter to her mother's flower shop. She noticed a middle-aged man lurking near the store, looking inside but not daring to enter. Bella Maxwell found this odd and thought, could this be a detective scoping out the place to rob later tonight? She shouted, startling the man, who quickly turned and ran away. Bella Maxwell stood there, puzzled by the strange situation. She went into the shop, not seeing anyone, and called up the stairs. It turned out her mother was upstairs, quietly fetching some water. They rented a small house where the ground floor served as the flower shop, and the upper floor was both the kitchen and bedroom, cramped and simple. Bella Maxwell quickly called to her mother, "Mom, you should come down and check if anything's missing. Just now, I saw a man lurking outside, and he didn't look trustworthy at all. Could he have been here to steal something? You need to be more careful. If you have money, put it in the bank and only keep some small change in the shop." Her mother, Margaret Maxwell, looking somewhat tired, said, "I know, dear. You go downstairs and trim the new batch of roses while I make dinner. Oh, by the way, the landlord came by to inform us that the rent is going up again. If I can't keep up, I might have to give up this shop and move to a smaller place just for living. It would save on expenses. I'll work hard to support you, so you don't have to keep waking up early and staying up late like this." Margaret Maxwell gazed lovingly at her daughter. "You're such a good and considerate child, and that's enough for me. Even though the flower shop's profits are shrinking, it's still enough to cover our living expenses. I just wish I could make enough to buy you a house." Bella Maxwell smiled softly. "Mom, it's my job to make money and buy you a house, not the other way around. You've worked so hard all these years to raise me. Now that I have a job, I'm thinking about starting an online shop, maybe selling small things like phone top-ups or other agency products at first, then gradually moving on to bigger items. But even if we save up, how could our earnings ever catch up to the price of houses? Every time I hear that house prices are dropping, they don't really fall by much. Even if they do, it's nowhere near the level from 5 years ago. Oh, by the way, how are things between you and Samuel Carter? Mom, please don't worry too much. You're going to say again that he doesn't have a stable job or much ambition, and that men like that aren't reliable, aren't you?" Margaret Maxwell sighed, her worry rising again. "I just fear that you'll end up making the same mistakes I did." Bella Maxwell felt a tinge of curiosity, as her mother rarely mentioned the past. All she knew was that her father had taken all the money and left her mother for another woman. Afterward, her paternal family also kicked the two of them out of their home. They had to live with Margaret Maxwell's family for a while, but after her uncles got married, the house became too cramped, so mother and daughter had to move out. Bella Maxwell was only 2 years old at the time. It truly was a heartbreaking story. When she was younger, seeing all her friends had fathers, Bella Maxwell used to ask her mother about her father. But every time, her mother either scolded her harshly or ignored the question altogether, eventually causing her to stop bringing it up. Cautiously, she asked, "Mom, is he still alive?" Even the word father was difficult for Bella Maxwell to say. Margaret Maxwell responded coldly, "He's dead." Bella Maxwell didn't dare ask anything more, afraid of making her mother angry. "Let me go make dinner, you take care of the flower shop," Margaret Maxwell said. Bella Maxwell began trimming the fresh flowers that had just arrived. In the middle of her work, her phone rang. It was Emily Thompson calling. "Hey, Bella, Lily Anderson just got back from Yunnan. I heard the Highland sun made her skin as dark as pig's liver. She's inviting us out for dinner tonight. Make sure you come." Bella Maxwell smiled wryly. "Seriously? I was planning to have dinner with my mom tonight. Why didn't you tell me sooner?" Emily Thompson replied, "Okay, we'll wait for you." Bella Maxwell was about to decline, but Emily Thompson hung up before she could say anything, leaving her no choice but to sigh. Noticing it was already evening, she decided to close up the shop. After locking up, she went upstairs. "Mom, Emily Thompson and Lily Anderson invited me to dinner tonight." Her mother was surprised. "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" "I've already made dinner. How am I supposed to eat all this by myself?" "Oh, just put it in the fridge, we can eat it tomorrow." "Mom!" Bella Maxwell whined playfully. "Fine, go ahead, but don't stay out too late. You've got work tomorrow. And it's getting chilly, so remember to wear your coat." Before her mother could finish her sentence, Bella Maxwell had already darted out the door like a gust of wind. Margaret Maxwell sighed as she watched her go. "Ah, my daughter's grown up. I guess I can't keep her by my side anymore." When Bella Maxwell arrived at the private dining room, Emily Thompson and Lily Anderson were already there. Lily Anderson was wearing a wide-brimmed hat with floral details, sunglasses, and a beaded sundress in a bohemian Indian style, looking every bit like a celebrity. Seated beside her was her current boyfriend, Jason Clark. Knowing Jason Clark's complicated situation, Bella Maxwell simply smiled politely and nodded in greeting. She turned to Lily Anderson and teased, "You're dressed so brightly today, like a colorful butterfly. But your skin isn't as bad as Emily Thompson said. It's not dark like pig's liver at all." Lily Anderson shot Emily Thompson a playful glare. "She's just talking nonsense, as usual." Emily Thompson laughed and said, "You too, Lily Anderson, order whatever you want, don't hold back because of him." Jason Clark smiled in agreement. Bella Maxwell chimed in, "You both go ahead and order. I'll eat anything. Let the host decide." Jason Clark spoke up, "I've already ordered a few dishes. But if there's anything you'd like to add, feel free." Bella Maxwell nodded, "Let's see what's been brought out first, and if it's not enough, we can order more later." Emily Thompson frowned at Lily Anderson, "All right, take off your sunglasses. It's just us here, no need to keep them on. Don't you feel uncomfortable? You're acting like a celebrity." Lily Anderson replied, "Oh please, I've got these sunspots around my eyes from the sun. I'm doing this so you guys won't have to look at it and feel uncomfortable." Emily Thompson smirked, "Are you doing it for us, or for someone else?" She glanced at Jason Clark, who was holding Lily Anderson close, looking all lovey-dovey like a newlywed couple. Emily Thompson asked bluntly, "So, what's your plan? A woman's youth doesn't last forever, and you two have been together for over a year, right? Jason Clark, do you truly love Lily Anderson? Let me be direct, do you plan to marry her?" The truth was, Emily Thompson understood why Lily Anderson had invited Jason Clark to this dinner. She didn't want to push too hard, but she couldn't let this drag on forever. This was her chance to gauge his intentions. All three women stared at Jason Clark, their gazes like lasers focused on him. Sweat began to form on his forehead. "Of course I love her, of course there's real affection. If we didn't care about each other, how could we have been together for so long, right? And yes, I do want to marry her. But, you need to give me some time. I have 2 kids, and my wife is still at home taking care of the family." You. Bella Maxwell sensed the tension in the air and quickly added, "Isn't that just an excuse? You aren't serious about Lily Anderson, you're just playing around, aren't you?" At that moment, Jason Clark found himself in a tight spot, like being backed into a corner with the only way out being the door behind him. Just then, his phone unexpectedly rang like a lifeline. Grabbing the opportunity, Jason Clark quickly picked up the phone and stepped out of the room. "Excuse me, I need to take this call." Less than 2 minutes later, Jason Clark returned with an apologetic expression, "There's an urgent issue at work, I need to go right now. Please go ahead and enjoy the meal. Here's my card, just use it to pay when you're done." He turned to Lily Anderson with a soft smile and playfully tapped her nose, "Don't overthink it, I'll get back to you later." Be good, alright? Lily Anderson nodded gently, and with that, Jason Clarke disappeared as swiftly as he had come. The three women stared blankly at the now empty door, speechless for a long moment. Emily Thompson finally broke the silence. He has no intention of marrying you, he's just making excuses to escape. Even a fool like me can see that. How can you not? Lily Anderson immediately changed her demeanor, from gentle to angry, gritting her teeth as she said, I will find a way to make him marry me, just because the other side has children doesn't mean I can't. Bella Maxwell was alarmed. Lily Anderson, you're not planning to get pregnant, are you? If you really get pregnant and he still doesn't dare to divorce, you'll be the one who suffers the most. Emily Thompson also tried to advise her, Lily Anderson, don't do this. That man isn't worth it. He already has a family, and breaking up someone else's family really isn't the right thing to do. But as soon as Lily Anderson heard the word family, her anger flared up even more. Wasn't my family also destroyed by someone else? I used to think I was the happiest woman in the world, but it turns out I was just the most foolish and pitiful one. Family? What family? Emily Thompson sighed, those two treated you terribly, but you could have gotten revenge by reclaiming your ex-husband. But Jason Clarke's wife hasn't done anything to you, you're targeting the wrong person. She joked further, or should we come up with a plan to teach those two a lesson? Lily Anderson, still furious, responded, don't mention them again. Every time I think of them, I feel sick and lose my appetite. Emily Thompson chuckled, well, you could always set your sights on someone else. You're single now, free to love anyone as long as they agree. What more could you want? Lily Anderson pouted and said, please, I'm not the type of woman who messes around. Most young men these days have no money, no house, and their careers are still in limbo. By the time they've made it, I'll be an old lady, maybe even a high-risk pregnancy case. Who knows if I'll still be able to have children by then? Lily Anderson continued, that's why I need a man who's already successful. I don't want to waste 10 or more years on a young guy only for him to make it, and then some third party swoops in and takes him away. The bitter lesson from before is still fresh. She turned to Bella Maxwell, are you still tangled up with that poor guy? Just cut it off already. She made a decisive hand gesture, mimicking snapping something in half. Be firm about it, trust me, I'm never wrong. Emily Thompson quickly shoved a piece of food into Lily Anderson's mouth and winked at Bella Maxwell, poor guys can make it big one day, and the rich could lose everything tomorrow. Worry about your own business first, your situation is already a mess. How do you have time to meddle in ours? Bella Maxwell smiled softly, I'll handle my own situation, don't worry. Emily Thompson laughed, I worry because you two are my dearest friends. Then suddenly, Lily Anderson asked, why don't we go to the folk music bar tonight? Lily Anderson looked curious, what kind of bar is that? Can we dance there? Emily Thompson and Bella Maxwell said in unison, how basic. Bella Maxwell said, I'll call Samuel Carter over. He's a great singer, let's listen to him. Lily Anderson pouted, so talented, isn't he? First photography, then journalism, and now singing too. Well, for the record, I can sing too. Emily Thompson burst out laughing, Your voice sounds like a rooster crowing. Apart from cock-a-doodle-doo, what else can you sing? Lily Anderson got annoyed, slammed her glass down, and reached over to tickle Emily Thompson, how dare you insult me? Let's see if I don't tear your mouth wide open. The three of them laughed and teased each other, their laughter filling the room. Let's go, off to Goon Folk Music Bar. Bella Maxwell gazed dreamily at Samuel Carter as he sang passionately. He sported a Muslim-style beard, and his voice was deep, warm, and captivating, slow and sweet. Both Lily Anderson and Emily Thompson were listening attentively, and when he finished, the three of them clapped enthusiastically. After that, Samuel Carter performed another song, Meeting Place, by Theo Xie, known as the father of Chinese rock. Though it was a powerful rock song, he delivered an incredible performance that had the entire room erupting with cheers, applause, and unceasing claps. The atmosphere in the bar quickly became lively. Lily Anderson leaned over to whisper to Emily Thompson, "Hey, I think I'm starting to feel jealous of Bella Maxwell." She sighed, "But this kind of pure love. I don't think I can enjoy it anymore." At that moment, William Carter came over with a plate of fruit. "Thank you all for coming to support us. Samuel Carter is the exclusive singer here at Goon Folk Music Bar. Anytime you want to hear him sing, he's always ready." Samuel Carter playfully added, "Yep, and it's free too." The group burst into laughter. Emily Thompson pushed Lily Anderson forward. "Hey, does anyone know a reliable guy? My friend here is desperate, don't miss the chance if you come across one." Lily Anderson understood that Emily Thompson meant well, but right now, her heart had no room for anyone but Jason Clarke. Just thinking of his attitude annoyed her. "Come on, with all your shouting, the whole world now knows I'm a desperate single woman. Give me a little dignity, will you?" William Carter laughed. All right, everyone drink up. Tonight it's on me, and everyone has to drink till the end. Emily Thompson helped me out with something big, so I have to thank her tonight." Lily Anderson laughed out loud. "What have you guys been doing behind my back without telling me? You're making me feel left out." Emily Thompson chuckled and raised her glass. "I didn't do anything. It's all William Carter. There's nothing secretly romantic going on between me and him." The group kept laughing and chatting, and time passed quickly in the joyful atmosphere. In the end, Samuel Carter took Bella Maxwell home, while William Carter insisted on taking Emily Thompson and Lily Anderson home, but Emily Thompson declined. "Just go home. We've both been drinking, we'll take a taxi." "All right then, just message me when you get home," William Carter reminded them before heading back inside. Lily Anderson sighed. "Hey, why don't you walk with me for a bit?" Seeing that Lily Anderson seemed upset, Emily Thompson nodded in agreement. Lily Anderson began to pour out her thoughts. "I just called him, but he didn't pick up. In the end, he turned off his phone. It's driving me crazy. Do you think I pushed for marriage too hard, and now he's scared and wants to leave me?" Emily Thompson responded, "He's definitely at home, afraid his wife will find out about the affair. I think it's best if you cut ties with him and find a decent man who will love you seriously, marry you properly, and then have a few kids." Lily Anderson retorted, frustrated, "You're being too distant again. No, I need to come up with my final move. If not, I'll go to his office and make a scene so everyone knows about us. His wife will surely divorce him." Emily Thompson warned, "If you actually do that, you'd be the most foolish and daring third party in history. Men are prideful. If you humiliate him in front of his colleagues, he'll resent you instantly. Whatever feelings he had will be completely extinguished." She continued, "Haven't you heard about the men who felt so pressured they ended up killing their mistresses? There was just a case like that on Weibo recently." Lily Anderson responded defiantly, "I don't care." Emily Thompson sighed, "All right, say he divorces his wife and marries you. Are you sure he won't just cheat on you with another woman later? Think about it carefully before you decide. Anyway, I'm tired. Let's go home. I've got work tomorrow." Lily Anderson hesitated. "Wait, do you think I should pretend to be pregnant to see how he reacts? If he still won't divorce her, I'll cut ties for good, but if it works out, that'd be great." Emily Thompson stared at Lily Anderson's stomach. "You're really out of options now. Fine, do whatever you want, but don't drag me into this." Emily Thompson raised her hand to hail a taxi, and then climbed in. "Come on, I'll give you a ride part of the way," she said. Lily Anderson, looking weary, got into the taxi with Emily Thompson. When Emily Thompson arrived at the company, she was immediately informed that she had to attend a meeting. As soon as she entered the meeting room, she saw Ethan Neville sitting there, looking very dashing and stylish in a white shirt paired with a black vest. The female colleagues around her immediately started buzzing with excitement. A handsome, wealthy man like Ethan Neville, a true soica, was the dream man for many women. Especially Sophia Lawrence, a woman well known for her flirtatious nature in the company, her eyes lit up with desire. Sophia Lawrence was one of the models representing Neville Jewelry Corporation's jewelry line. She had lightly curled red hair, always sparkling eyes, and slightly parted pink lips. She was dressed in a tight, semi-transparent lace top, and below that, a form-fitting short skirt, showing off her long legs encased in sheer black stockings. Above the table, her ample chest seemed on the verge of spilling out, while below the table, her smooth and shapely legs could make any man blush. Leaning close to Emily Thompson, Sophia Lawrence whispered, "This rich boy is my latest target. Want to join forces?" Emily Thompson shrugged and smiled mockingly. "You've already set your sights on him, who would dare to compete with you?" Sophia Lawrence smiled smugly, confident in her beauty and charm. Wealthy men never escaped her grasp. Although she often succeeded in getting them into bed, she had never worn a wedding dress. Men only liked to have fun with her but never considered making her their wife. So, she continued to drift through life, chasing one target after another. At that moment, David Neville, the chairman of the company, entered the room, and everyone immediately fell silent, showing respect. During the meeting, David Neville formally introduced his only son. "This is my son, Ethan Neville, who has just returned from studying abroad. Starting today, he will assume the position of vice president of the company. Currently, he is still in the learning phase, and there are many things he is not familiar with yet, so I ask everyone to assist and offer your guidance. Once he becomes proficient and can handle tasks independently, I will gradually step back. I'm getting old, and it's time to enjoy my retirement." He continued, "From now on, for important matters, you can approach Ethan Neville. If there's something he can't resolve, you can go to the general manager, and if the general manager can't handle it, it'll come to me. I hope everyone gives Ethan Neville a chance, and I look forward to us working well together." After being introduced to everyone, Ethan Neville stood up, bowed, and smiled slightly, maintaining his poise and calmness. "I'm still new here, and I hope for everyone's support. The success of Neville Jewelry today is thanks to the collective efforts of all. Only by staying united, being creative, and striving together will the company's future shine even brighter." He continued, "On April 26th, we will be hosting a launch event for our new jewelry collection, with many journalists attending, so let's all prepare thoroughly. I hope this first collaboration will be a great success." Then Ethan Neville turned to Emily Thompson. "This launch will be led by Emily Thompson, while I will oversee the key aspects. I know she has experience in organizing similar events, so everyone should coordinate with Emily Thompson. We need a detailed plan, which I will discuss with her and come up with specific suggestions. I hope everyone will put in their best effort. This launch must be a success." His words were soft yet assertive, displaying the decisiveness of a shrewd leader, making Emily Thompson think to herself, "It seems he's not simple at all." After the meeting, Emily Thompson had to quickly draft a detailed plan to send to Ethan Neville. As a gemstone appraisal expert and deputy head of the department, she felt swept up in the whirlwind of work. Jack Johnson convened a small meeting to discuss and draft the preliminary plan. Once completed, the plan would need to be submitted to Ethan Neville and David Neville for approval and revisions. If approved, the work would need to commence immediately. The next 2 weeks would be a busy time for her. After finishing her work, Emily Thompson realized it was already dark, and her stomach started growling. Checking the time, it was past 8 p.m. She felt like she could eat an entire cow at that moment. She grabbed a cookie from the drawer, stuffing it into her mouth while mumbling, "At this rate, my chest will disappear too." In her rush, she suddenly bumped into something soft, which startled her. Looking up, she saw it was Ethan Neville. He gently teased, "What's wrong, little one? Why aren't you watching where you're going?" Deputy General Manager. Emily Thompson responded, embarrassed. You're still here? Yes, but it's after work now. After work, just call me Ethan, okay? Oh. Did you just ask me something about fixing? Emily Thompson blushed. Stop it. I was just saying I haven't eaten anything by this hour, and I feel like I could eat anything. Ethan Neville chuckled. I'm hungry too, so much so that my face has turned pale. Can't you tell? Yeah, you're right. You've gone from looking like a dashing gentleman to a scholarly pale face. Ethan Neville laughed softly. Hey, come eat with me. You know the area better than I do now, so take me somewhere with good food. Emily Thompson playfully replied, all right, as long as you're treating, I'll go. Ethan Neville burst out laughing. Of course, I'll be the one treating every time. Sitting in Ethan Neville's car, Emily Thompson thought for a moment and said, Ethan, it seems like you've never taken me out for a private meal before. This time, I won't let you off so easily. Ethan Neville burst out laughing. Hey, you. Forgetful girl, did you forget already? I bought you so many sugar-coated hawthorn sticks, peanut candy, and even stole grapefruit for you. Back then, I didn't even want to eat it myself. Emily Thompson chuckled. Oh my goodness, that was decades ago, and you still remember it? Ethan Neville pretended to be serious. It doesn't count, it doesn't count. A hero never talks about the past. Now, tell me, where do you want to eat? The warmth and closeness in Ethan Neville's voice made Emily Thompson feel that everything was still as familiar as before. She glanced at him and noticed that his side profile was perfectly sculpted, with a straight nose, firm lips, and gentle eyes. Seeing him focus intently on the road ahead, she suddenly recalled the time when she used to have a quiet crush on him. It wasn't a passionate love, just a soft feeling, like spring grass quietly blooming. It wasn't a love that bloomed like flowers or was as sweet as ripe fruit, but rather innocent and pure emotions, a quiet yearning. Just seeing him was enough to bring peace to her heart. But as she grew older, those feelings gradually faded. Although Ethan Neville still treated her warmly, she knew it was nothing more than a brotherly affection. So, when she learned that he had been through several relationships, she only wished him happiness without any hopes or regrets. Sometimes, she wondered, if they had gotten together back then, what would things be like now? Perhaps they would have had a small family with adorable children. These thoughts crossed Emily Thompson's mind many times, but they were just fleeting imaginations that quickly disappeared. Love is a story between two people, and if it only comes from one side, it will never go anywhere. With a love that had no future, Emily Thompson chose to calmly accept it. Perhaps, everything as it is now is already good enough. Emily Thompson took Ethan Neville to a luxurious French restaurant. The ambience evoked images of a 17th-century French palace, opulent and refined, yet the lighting was soft, creating a sense of grandeur while still feeling warm and romantic. Ethan Neville looked around and laughed. You really know how to choose a place for a meal. This spot is not only fancy but perfect for couples, and it's even ideal for a proposal. Emily Thompson blushed slightly. She had once hoped that if she ever had the chance to dine with the man she loved, this would be the place she would bring him. But that was something she didn't want Ethan Neville to know. Thank you for helping me fulfill my wish. What did you say? Ethan Neville looked at Emily Thompson with confusion as he flipped through the menu. Nothing, just hurry up and order, I'm about to faint from hunger. Ethan Neville chuckled. Charles Lawrence-style grilled foie gras, dragon fish, French lamb chops, French-style braised potatoes. How about a steak for you as well? Yes, add 2 steaks and a bottle of wine. Take a look, do you want to order anything else? Ethan Neville asked. That should be enough. If we need more, we can order later. Alright, sounds good. Ethan Neville handed the menu to the waiter. After ordering, Ethan Neville glanced around and noticed that every table had a bouquet of red roses. He wondered aloud, is there something special today? It's not Valentine's Day, it's not White Day, and Qixi Festival is still far away. Emily Thompson was also puzzled. I'm not sure, maybe it's some sort of rose festival. The two of them burst into laughter. Just then, the waiter arrived with a bouquet of flowers and said, "Today, our restaurant has a promotion where we give flowers to all the ladies. Please accept these." They looked at each other, and Emily Thompson awkwardly stammered, No, we're not, She hesitated, not knowing how to explain. Ethan Neville quickly accepted the flowers, "Thank you." Then he glanced at Emily Thompson and said, "Free flowers, why not take them? If you don't, someone else will. They'll wilt soon anyway." Emily Thompson smiled, "You're right, don't worry. I'm not misunderstanding anything. But it's kind of funny, I've never received flowers from anyone in my whole life." "How tragic." Ethan Neville chuckled, "Why didn't you say so earlier? I'll buy you a beautiful bouquet." No, don't do that, it's too embarrassing. "Look, the food's here, let's eat." Emily Thompson smiled, but quickly shifted to eating enthusiastically, ordering more dishes non-stop. She thought to herself, if I don't make him feel the pinch in his wallet, he'll never understand what real suffering is. When it was time to pay, the bill came to 2,000 yuan. Ethan Neville sighed in frustration, "Oh, never upset a woman. My dad just gave me 5,000 yuan for my monthly salary, and now you've cut half of it." Emily Thompson widened her eyes in surprise, "No way, your dad's that stingy." Ethan Neville laughed, "But don't worry. The company will eventually be mine anyway, and I have a sister too. I'm not in a rush. I just want to manage the company well and make sure it doesn't collapse under my watch." Emily Thompson encouraged him, "What are you talking about? I believe in your abilities." The two of them continued eating and chatting, time passed quickly, and the dishes on the table were soon cleared. As they left the restaurant, Ethan Neville said to Emily Thompson, "Let me drive you home." Just then, Emily Thompson's phone rang. It was a message from William Carter, "Are you free? Come over, I just finished making a new cocktail and want you to try it." Emily Thompson thought for a moment and replied, "I'm too tired today, let's do it another time. I have to get up early tomorrow." William Carter responded, "All right, we'll save it for another time." Ethan Neville looked at Emily Thompson and asked, "Is something wrong?" Emily Thompson smiled, "Nothing, he just misses me." Ethan Neville looked at her in a daze for a moment, then laughed, "You're in love, aren't you? Look at your face, it's like you're soaking in the sweetness of love. I'm a bit jealous just looking at you." Emily Thompson gently touched her cheek and murmured, "Really?" Then she smiled playfully, "Maybe you're right, it's about time I indulged in love, isn't it?" Ethan Neville teased, "No way, you've never been in love. Don't tell me you've been saving yourself for me." Ethan Neville's words were clearly just a thoughtless joke. Emily Thompson smiled and teased back, "What if I said yes?" They had reached the parking lot, and as Ethan Neville opened the car door, he continued to joke, "Well, then I'd have to think seriously about it." Emily Thompson grew curious, "Think about what?" Ethan Neville laughed, "Think about whether we should rekindle our old flame, of course." Suddenly, Emily Thompson fell silent. Ethan Neville's careless joke unexpectedly made her heart ache. At that moment, she realized that in some deep corner of her heart, she still cared about him. A part of her still belonged to Ethan Neville. Just then, Ethan Neville's phone buzzed. It was a message from Molly Lewis, "Hey love, I had to work overtime today, but I'm on my way home now." Ethan Neville briefly replied, "Yeah, I'm almost home." The atmosphere in the car suddenly turned silent. Neither of them said anything more. Perhaps because of the exhaustion over the past few days, after a full meal, drowsiness began to set in. When Ethan Neville dropped her off at her house, just before getting out of the car, Emily Thompson suddenly asked, "Do you really love her?" Ethan Neville froze for a moment, but before he could respond, Emily Thompson had already gotten out of the car. In reality, she didn't need to hear his answer. That night, though she was tired, Emily Thompson couldn't sleep well. Her mind kept conjuring up images of Ethan Neville and Molly Lewis together. Molly Lewis must be a charming woman who knows how to capture a man's heart. Every time she thought of them being affectionate with each other, Emily Thompson felt a sharp pain in her heart. Perhaps Ethan Neville shouldn't have appeared at this moment when her emotions were still unsettled. Maybe she should be more serious about her relationship with William Carter. The next morning, in the meeting room, Ethan Neville and the key employees of the company were already present. Emily Thompson picked up a file and said, "I've come up with some ideas for the launch event, let me know if they're feasible. First, I'd like to hold the launch in the form of a cocktail party. Alongside interviews with the press, we'll create an opportunity for our ladies and customers to meet, network, and generate a romantic and luxurious atmosphere that aligns with the brand's image of elegance. Secondly, we will invite our brand ambassador to wear the collection Love on the Aegean Sea, to create a star-studded effect, generating significant buzz. Thirdly, we will organize on-site sales at the event. We are launching over 10 new jewelry designs, and if our guests are interested, they can purchase and wear them right at the party. This will make them feel elevated in status, and with many reporters present, these purchases will increase their chances of appearing in the media, boosting our sales. Fourthly, we can partner with charitable organizations, donating a portion of the sales revenue to charity funds. This will not only enhance Neville Jewelry Corporation's reputation but also help us gain both prestige and customer loyalty." After reading through the plan, Emily Thompson paused. "What do you all think?" Everyone nodded in agreement. However, Manager James from the sales department, who often opposed Emily Thompson, spoke up, "Combining a press conference and a cocktail party at the same time doesn't seem appropriate. One is a formal, serious event, and the other is a casual party, which might not fit well together." Ethan Neville gently asked, "What does Manager James suggest then?" Manager James proposed, "We could separate them, hold the press conference during the day and the cocktail party in the evening." Emily Thompson responded, "I've considered that option too, but I believe creating a captivating shopping environment, especially for luxury items like jewelry, will stimulate customers to make immediate purchases. When they see something they like, they can buy it right there, which will strongly drive their desire to shop." Ethan Neville looked around the room and asked, "Does anyone else have any other suggestions?" Designer Grace Green spoke up, "I think Emily Thompson's plan is excellent. We can certainly hold the press conference and cocktail party together without any issues." Many colleagues also expressed their agreement with Emily Thompson. Ethan Neville nodded, "If everyone is in agreement, we'll proceed with Emily Thompson's plan. Please prepare a detailed plan, including the guest list and the party's requirements, and send it back to me. If there are no changes, we'll move forward with the plan as outlined." He continued to direct, "Current tasks need to be communicated to the press and the organizing teams immediately. Everyone, start preparations right away. Grace Green, please finish the quality check on the new jewelry models. There must be no mistakes. I trust in your abilities, and this is our first collaboration together. I hope we can successfully launch this event. There will be a smaller meeting tomorrow morning to review the progress." The meeting ended, and everyone left the room. Sophia Lawrence, who wasn't present in the meeting, walked behind Emily Thompson, swaying elegantly. "Hey, I heard you're inviting a brand ambassador." Emily Thompson responded as they walked, "That's right." Sophia Lawrence pouted and continued to ask, "Why bother hiring outsiders? Our company has no shortage of models, so why waste money on a brand ambassador?" Emily Thompson sighed, "This isn't something simple. Love on the Aegean Sea is a special jewelry collection worth millions. You can't just randomly choose a model. Inviting a celebrity has its own advantages. When they wear the jewelry, the value of the pieces increases. Moreover, the fame of a big star will help make Love on the Aegean Sea even more famous." Sophia Lawrence continued to dream, "Then why not let me wear it? I'm no worse than those celebrities. When that happens, my name will be in the spotlight, my image will appear in newspapers, magazines, and media. Soon enough, I'll become a big star. Ms. Thompson, don't you agree? I definitely won't forget your kindness. Once I'm famous and earning high pay, I'll share some with you. Sophia Lawrence was still engrossed in building this fantasy, but Emily Thompson didn't have time to listen any longer. All right, I don't have time for your daydreams. There's still a lot of work to be done. With that, she walked into her office and closed the door, leaving Sophia Lawrence outside. Sophia Lawrence pouted, annoyed, and turned away, mumbling in dissatisfaction. Finally, the launch of the jewelry collection began. Emily Thompson was so busy that the dark circles under her eyes were almost visible. Last night, she applied a sleeping mask to improve her skin condition, and this morning, she put on detailed makeup, wearing a long purple dress, and her confidence and beauty returned. The stressful work period had almost made her forget what she looked like. However, seeing Ethan Neville frequently during this time also provided some comfort, even though her heart remained conflicted. Emily Thompson only hoped that this launch event would go smoothly, so she could return to her normal state, both mentally and physically. The event featured the famous actress Isabella White, who was the brand ambassador for the jewelry collection. Emily Thompson glanced at her watch and asked her assistant, "Why hasn't Isabella White arrived yet?" The assistant made a quick phone call, "They've picked her up, she's at the airport now. She'll be here in about half an hour." Emily Thompson urged, "Hurry up, there's only a little more than an hour until the event starts, and she still needs to do her makeup. Tell Tommy Smith's team to be ready." At this point, reporters from all over had already gathered. Lily Anderson was also present as a journalist from the city newspaper. She ran over to ask Emily Thompson, "Any hot news? I heard a star is appearing today." Emily Thompson quickly replied, "Yes, she's on her way. Our new collection will also be unveiled right here. The detailed press materials will be distributed later. I'm swamped today, so please don't bother me. Hey, that handsome guy over there is the chairman's son, right? And he's your childhood friend. He's like a shining single diamond. You better act fast, or you'll lose him." Emily Thompson glanced around and replied, "Stop talking nonsense. He already has a girlfriend. Anyway, I've got a lot of work to do, you go ahead." But wait, I wasn't finished. Emily Thompson ignored her completely. Today, there was no room for distractions. Gradually, the wealthy ladies and young heiresses started to arrive, all dressed to impress. They greeted each other warmly, but soon the conversation turned to showing off their jewelry. Emily Thompson wasn't interested in this, feeling like her face had frozen from smiling too much. She glanced at Ethan Neville, who was being surrounded by Sophia Lawrence. As a model for Neville Jewelry Corporation, Sophia Lawrence was particularly well-dressed today, looking much more seductive than usual. Her bold, low-cut dress and the snowflake-shaped necklace with a ruby, one of the company's latest jewelry designs, made her stand out just as much as anyone in the room. Emily Thompson observed Ethan Neville, who seemed to be avoiding Sophia Lawrence's advances, and found it amusing. But what she didn't realize was that the person Ethan Neville truly wanted to avoid was standing right behind him. Sophia Lawrence, with her ambition and flirtatious nature, was nothing compared to that. Suddenly, a loud voice shouted from the door, "Isabella White has arrived." Everyone gathered around her like a star attending a party. As the event organizer, Emily Thompson quickly went to greet her, "Beautiful Isabella White, thank you for coming. You look stunning, even more gorgeous than on screen." For women, compliments about their beauty are the sweetest words in the world, even more powerful than an "I love you." Isabella White was truly beautiful, with a tall figure, smooth white skin like jade, bright eyes, and an alluring, mesmerizing smile. Having spent a long time in the entertainment industry, she could easily handle any type of man. But when it came to women, Isabella White maintained her elegance and grace, striking a balance between being approachable yet still exuding an aura of power. This made Emily Thompson secretly admire her. If I were even 1/10 as smart as she is, I wouldn't have ended up having to go on blind dates. For a big star like Isabella White, of course, Ethan Neville, the vice president, had to personally welcome her. Emily Thompson quickly introduced, "This is Ethan Neville, the event's organizer and also the son of Chairman Neville." At that moment, Isabella White's eyes seemed to spark with intensity, and Emily Thompson secretly worried that Ethan Neville might be struck by a love thunderbolt. As Ethan Neville extended his hand, before he could say anything, Isabella White quickly took his hand and sweetly said, "So you're Ethan Neville, the heir of the Neville family? I didn't expect you to be so young and handsome." Clearly, Isabella White had done thorough research on the Neville family beforehand. Ethan Neville, feeling slightly embarrassed, responded, "You're too kind. I didn't expect Isabella White to be even more beautiful in person than on screen." It's true, seeing is believing. Watching this scene, Emily Thompson felt a bit uncomfortable and thought to herself, "He's using the same compliment I did." And yet, Molly Lewis isn't worried at all. She's way too confident. Judging by Isabella White's enthusiastic attitude, it seemed she was determined to win over Ethan Neville. He was clearly a little flustered, casting several pleading glances at Emily Thompson, but she pretended not to notice and continued to laugh with her colleagues. Meanwhile, Sophia Lawrence couldn't help but feel annoyed, just a little bit of fame and she's already so arrogant. If any director noticed me, I'd definitely be more famous than her. What's there to be proud of? Oh, my dear director, where are you? Luckily, the press conference was about to begin. Isabella White needed to head to the makeup room and change clothes to prepare for the moment when the chairman's wife would personally present her with the Love on the Aegean Sea necklace, the signature piece of this collection. She was quickly escorted by the makeup team to the preparation room. The gala officially began. The two hosts, one a well-known presenter from the provincial capital and the other at the level of a national CCTV host, introduced the event. MC Belmock took the stage to deliver a speech, speaking about the outstanding achievements Neville Jewelry Corporation had made in its 30 years of operation. Then, he introduced today's key theme and showcased more than 10 new jewelry designs. The highlights included the Snow Light necklace on Sophia Lawrence's neck, the Millennium Bumi AI ruby necklace, and the Butterfly in Love with Flowers cat's eye diamond ring on another model's hand. However, the main attraction of the evening was the release of the Love on the Aegean Sea collection. After a few song and dance performances, Isabella White made her grand entrance, dressed in a stunning, newly tailored outfit. As soon as she appeared, her fans erupted in excitement, as if they had been jolted awake by the sight of their idol. This was truly the power of celebrity, what is sometimes called the chicken blood effect, which has the power to stir up the atmosphere. Isabella White wore a gorgeous pure white evening gown, radiating such beauty that it left the entire audience in awe. Immediately, the host announced, "Now, Lady Neville, the wife of Chairman Neville, will personally adorn Isabella White with the Love on the Aegean Sea necklace." The room filled with enthusiastic applause. When Lady Neville opened the exquisite jewelry box and took out the Love on the Aegean Sea necklace, the entire room fell silent. It took a moment for murmurs to spread across the crowd. The dazzling brilliance of the necklace resembled a divine light, inspiring awe among the guests. As Lady Neville placed the necklace around Isabella White's neck, she began explaining, "The Love on the Aegean Sea necklace was designed by our chief designer, Grace Green. The necklace is set with 21 blue sapphires around the edges, while the centerpiece, a blue diamond, weighs 12.78 carats. Although it may not rival the world-famous Eternal Light or Hope Star, it remains an extremely rare and exceptional blue diamond. Even on the international market, the quality of such a gem is incredibly rare." Isabella White, in her stunning white dress and sparkling necklace, truly looked like a goddess. The photographers couldn't stop clicking their cameras, flashes going off continuously, while Isabella White kept changing poses for the perfect shot. Next came Ethan Neville's presentation. During the event, Ethan Neville also took orders for the new jewelry pieces. Neville Jewelry Corporation pledged that 10% of the sales from this launch would be donated to orphanages. The room was filled with applause and cheers, praising Neville Jewelry Corporation's charitable gesture. After that, the guests enjoyed a free-flowing cocktail party, sipping drinks, snacking, dancing, and many stopped by the sales area to inquire about the jewelry on display. Isabella White was surrounded by a swarm of reporters, giving interviews one after another, with 2 bodyguards from Neville Jewelry Corporation by her side, ensuring her safety and guarding the "Love on the Aegean Sea" necklace. Seeing this scene, David Neville felt very pleased. He turned to Ethan Neville and Emily Thompson and said, "This event has been a great success." Ethan Neville smiled and replied, "It's all thanks to Emily Thompson. Without her, this event wouldn't have gone so smoothly." Emily Thompson humbly smiled, "It's all due to everyone's hard work. The colleagues have worked really hard, especially with Ethan Neville's strong support." Her words made everyone around smile warmly, and David Neville laughed heartily. "I really didn't misjudge you." Everyone laughed. As the party was coming to an end, the MC announced that the total revenue from the event reached 8 million yuan. David Neville immediately wrote a check for 800,000 yuan to donate to the director of the orphanage. The director expressed deep gratitude. After the cocktail party ended, most of the guests had already left, and Emily Thompson and the others finished cleaning up and were ready to go home. At that moment, Emily Thompson felt completely drained, and the fatigue from the past few days began to hit her. At the entrance, she suddenly remembered that she had drunk a little wine today and was about to call a taxi when she saw Ethan Neville sitting in a car, waving at her. "Get in, I'll give you a ride home." Emily Thompson looked inside the car and asked, "Where are Chairman Neville and Lady Neville?" "The driver already took them home earlier." "All right then." As she got in the car, Emily Thompson suddenly thought of something. "For an event like this, why didn't you bring your girlfriend along?" "Actually, I wanted to invite her, but my mom said there were too many reporters today. If she came, she'd definitely become the center of media attention. She said the timing isn't right for us to go public yet. I don't know if she knows this. She probably won't be happy if she finds out." While speaking, his phone rang. "Molly Lewis, where are you? Why is it so noisy?" "I'm at a bar, drunk." "Which bar?" "I'll be there right away." Emily Thompson said, "You should go pick up Molly Lewis, I'll take another car home." Ethan Neville said, "It's fine, we'll go pick her up, then I'll drop you off after." "That doesn't seem appropriate. It's late, and she might misunderstand." Ethan Neville, confident, said, "It's okay, she won't misunderstand." Emily Thompson reluctantly agreed. In truth, she thought she probably shouldn't go with him because being in the same car, late at night, could easily cause misunderstandings. Ethan Neville only saw her as a sister, but others might not think the same. However, Emily Thompson still let Ethan Neville pull her along. Was there a part of her that secretly hoped Molly Lewis would misunderstand their relationship? "I haven't had time to be with Molly Lewis these past few days. It's no wonder she's upset. Now that the event is over, you should spend time with her. She's all alone here, in a foreign place. If you don't pay attention to her, she'll definitely feel hurt." "You're right. Once things settle down, I'll arrange a position for her at the company, so she can stay here long term." "How did you two meet?" "When I was studying in the UK, I tutored some students who wanted to learn Chinese. Molly Lewis was one of them. It wasn't that romantic, really. Love at first sight. You could say that." As they spoke, they arrived at the bar. Emily Thompson stayed in the car to wait. Not long after, Ethan Neville came out, supporting a very drunk Molly Lewis. Molly Lewis, speaking in broken Chinese, said, I want to drink more. I don't have any diamonds. None of you need me. Nobody cares about me. I could drink myself to death, and nobody would notice. Once in the car, Emily Thompson realized there was another woman already inside. Surprised, she asked, who is she? Ethan Neville explained, she's my colleague. The company had an event today. It just finished, so I'm giving her a ride home. Molly Lewis stared at Emily Thompson from head to toe, her gaze intense, making Emily Thompson feel uneasy. Suddenly, Molly Lewis said, your dress is gorgeous. Can I borrow it? As she spoke, she reached out to touch Emily Thompson's outfit. Emily Thompson panicked, worried that this foreign woman might do something inappropriate, and quickly stopped her hand. If you like this dress so much, I'll take it home, clean it, and give it to you later, okay? Ethan Neville smiled wryly. Come on, Molly Lewis, tomorrow I'm free. I'll take you shopping. Whatever dress you like, I'll buy it for you, alright? Molly Lewis pouted. You better not lie to me. If you lie, you're not a person, you're a little puppy. Ethan Neville couldn't help but laugh, alright, I promise I won't lie. If I lie, I'll be a little puppy. When the car arrived in front of Emily Thompson's house, she got out and said, when you're free, Molly Lewis, feel free to drop by. You two take care. She waved goodbye, watching the car disappear into the distance. She thought to herself how adorable this British girl was. But what puzzled her was why Molly Lewis didn't seem to suspect anything about the relationship between her and Ethan Neville. Could it be that there was no resemblance between her and Ethan Neville, or was it that Molly Lewis trusted him too much? Or perhaps, she mused, the minds of Chinese women and British women really were different. Bella Maxwell arrived at an old apartment building. On the ground floor was a row of mailboxes. She glanced at the mailbox for apartment 601, saw that there was mail inside, and used her key to retrieve it. It was a large envelope, and judging from the return address, it was likely a travel magazine. Reaching the upstairs apartment, she knocked on the door of 601 and called out, Samuel Carter, you've got mail. This was the apartment that Samuel Carter had rented. In fact, his family also lived in this city, not too far away. But he couldn't stand his parents' constant nagging and preferred a life of freedom and ideals, so he rented this place. William Carter once said, Samuel Carter lives in his own little utopian kingdom. Hearing no response from inside, Bella Maxwell took out her key and opened the door. Samuel Carter found it too bothersome to always open the door for her, so he had given her a spare set of keys, including the mailbox key. Samuel Carter often stayed indoors for days on end, so if there was any mail, Bella Maxwell would bring it up for him. Upon entering the apartment, Bella Maxwell noticed that the place was a mess, as if it hadn't been cleaned in a week. Samuel Carter was fast asleep on the bed, hugging a pillow, with his laptop still open beside him. Bella Maxwell sighed, placing the mail on the table and turning off the laptop. She then began tidying up the room. Sometimes she wondered, how would Samuel Carter live without her? No stable job, living with his days and nights completely flipped, eating irregularly. There were times he wouldn't leave the house for a whole week, and when he did, he'd wander for months on end. By the time Bella Maxwell had nearly finished cleaning, Samuel Carter finally woke up. He stretched and looked at her in surprise, when did you get here? Bella Maxwell replied irritably, what time did you go to bed? If I tossed you into the river, you probably wouldn't even notice. Samuel Carter yawned, I think around 4 a.m. Annoyed, Bella Maxwell said, can't you find a more normal job? Even if it's freelance, you need to live on a proper schedule. Sleep when you should, eat when it's time to eat. This was a subject they had argued over many times. Sometimes, Bella Maxwell felt completely exhausted, as if she were the one bringing this suffering upon herself. She often wondered why she had chosen to love such a selfish and childish man like Samuel Carter. His world seemed to revolve solely around himself. But every time they argued, he would sing love songs to make amends, reminding Bella Maxwell of all the good in him. In those moments, she would feel that only Samuel Carter truly loved her in this world. Yet, she knew very well that a man like Samuel Carter was only suitable for dating, not marriage. This was something Bella Maxwell was crystal clear about. Still, she cherished their relationship and lived each day as if it were their last day together. Women all desire a stable marriage, not fleeting romances floating in the clouds. Those brief loves are just spices of life. If life lacks freedom, what's the point of living? Sometimes, Bella Maxwell couldn't understand what Samuel Carter was thinking, but she loved him enough to accept all his flaws. She had tried to change his bad habits, but it seemed futile. Bella Maxwell didn't know how much longer she could endure it. At times, she felt like love was simply a voluntary suffering. Bella Maxwell pointed towards the table. There's some mail for you. Take a look. Samuel Carter glanced over at the table, picked up the envelope, and opened it. This magazine published my photos, so this must be the royalty notice. He signed the paper with a cheerful grin. I've got money now, isn't that great? Bella Maxwell wasn't as excited. It's probably only 100 or 200 yuan. What's there to be so happy about? Samuel Carter continued enthusiastically. Yesterday, a friend suggested that I gather all my travel articles and photos and send them to a publisher. Bella Maxwell urged him, then hurry up and do it. If you keep staying up late playing games, how will you ever get anything done? Samuel Carter laughed. I'll start today, I promise. Wait, is today Saturday? Bella Maxwell sighed. You've forgotten what day it is already. Are you hungry? Let me cook something for you. The fridge is empty. How many days has it been since you last went outside? She continued, all right, get dressed quickly. Let's go out to eat and buy some groceries. You're a grown man, if you starve, it serves you right. Bella Maxwell pulled Samuel Carter up, but he suddenly hugged her tightly. I haven't seen you for days, I missed you like crazy. Let me eat you first, he joked, laughing and kissing her. Bella Maxwell dodged while laughing and scolding, oh my God, you smell so bad. You haven't even brushed your teeth. Just then, Lily Anderson called, interrupting the moment. Hello, Bella Maxwell, what are you doing? Come have dinner with me, there's something important we need to discuss. Emily Thompson is free now too, we should get together. Bella Maxwell asked, can I bring someone with me? Lily Anderson sounded surprised, who? Samuel Carter. A man. That's a bit different. Bella Maxwell teased, well then, I won't go. You guys can go eat without me. Lily Anderson sighed, I've never seen anyone put romance over friendship like you. Alright, just treat Samuel Carter like your little wife and bring him along. Bella Maxwell giggled and pulled Samuel Carter up, come on, let's go eat. Samuel Carter weakly responded, it's all women, and I'm the only guy, are you sure it's okay? Bella Maxwell found a set of clothes and threw them to him, what's not okay about that? Hurry up and change. Meanwhile, on the other side, Lily Anderson had started venting to Emily Thompson, I really don't want to be a journalist anymore. Running around everywhere, getting paid like I'm selling vegetables but stressing like I'm dealing drugs. Today, I was even chased by someone, saying my article had false information. They said I took bribes. They say I took money, but I said I didn't. Do you think they believed me? Emily Thompson blinked, so, did you take it? You. Lily Anderson was so angry that she couldn't speak for a moment, it's infuriating. It's bad enough that others doubt me, but now even you. Sure, I like money, but I have principles. I'm not greedy for small change. Lily Anderson continued, oh, right, Emily, how about giving me some inside scoop from your company so I can hold my head high again? Hot news is so hard to come by these days. I heard Ethan Neville has a foreign girlfriend, right? When will you get me some pictures? Emily Thompson shook her head. You want me to be a spy? No way. That's also one of my principles. I don't care about other people's private affairs. Love between a man and a woman is normal. It's just you gossip hounds who are obsessed with prying into it. At that moment, Bella Maxwell and Samuel Carter walked in. Emily Thompson raised an eyebrow. Look at you, Samuel Carter, you're starting to look more and more like a caveman. That beard is something else. Samuel Carter laughed. I'm an artist, aren't I? Artists are supposed to look like this, right? Emily Thompson teased. How can you compare yourself to the homeless? Come on, sit down and order. Bella Maxwell ordered a few simple dishes and asked, what's the big deal you wanted to talk to us about? Samuel Carter gently added, yeah, do you need help with anything? Lily Anderson said firmly, I've made up my mind. I'm going to fight to the end for my great love. After hearing that, Emily Thompson jumped up. Can I just throw up everything I've eaten? Bella Maxwell pulled Samuel Carter. Come on, let's change seats. Lily Anderson immediately pulled them back. What are you doing? I want to talk to you guys. I've made up my mind now, I'm going to be decisive. Either he divorces, or I break up with him. I can't drag this out any longer. She continued, or maybe I should pretend to be pregnant, see how he reacts. If he tells me to get an abortion, I'll break up with him. But if he's willing to stay with me for the baby, then I've won. Emily Thompson rolled her eyes. That's so cheap. If you really can't think of anything else, then go ahead and pretend. Why are you even asking us about this? Lily Anderson shrugged. I need a fake ultrasound report, otherwise Jason Clark won't believe me. But I don't know anyone at the hospital. Emily, don't you have any relatives working in hospitals? Emily Thompson replied, I used to, but they've transferred somewhere else now. Lily Anderson looked worried. So what should I do now? Samuel Carter chimed in, I have a cousin who works at a hospital, but we don't talk much. I can ask her for help. Lily Anderson brightened up, that's great. Just ask her to get an ultrasound report saying I'm 1 or 2 months pregnant, and have my name printed on it. It's like the heavens are helping me. Bella Maxwell laughed, looks like Samuel Carter really brought you some luck this time. Lily Anderson beamed, once I'm the boss's wife, I won't forget about you guys. Why don't you all come to my company? I guarantee you'll eat well, dress nicely, and get whatever you want. Samuel Carter can come too, I'll arrange a job for him, directly under me. No one will dare bully you guys, not a chance. Lily Anderson once again started her daytime dreams, making Emily Thompson and Bella Maxwell exchange glances, sighing and shaking their heads. Clearly, she had sunk too deep into her delusions, so much so that other people's words no longer got through to her. Think about it, how could a man who relied on his father-in-law to build his career leave everything behind for someone like her? How could he give up his stability, position, and family to pursue an uncertain affair with her? Moreover, in this marriage, he was the one at fault. If he wanted a divorce, the only way would be to walk away with nothing. No matter how young and beautiful she was, to him, she was just a mosquito's blood smear on his hand, incomparable to the precious red mole on the wall. By now, the restaurant was starting to fill up, and the atmosphere grew noisier. A couple walked in, a woman in a short, tight-fitting dress, her hair cut short, with average looks but a seductive demeanor. The man, in his 30s, was a head taller than her. They walked in hand and sat down near Lily Anderson, just behind her, and directly across from Emily Thompson. Emily Thompson gently tapped Lily Anderson's hand and whispered, "Look at that, what a small world. Or maybe some unfinished fate." It was none other than Lily Anderson's ex-husband, John Chen. Lily Anderson glanced briefly, and her cheerful expression immediately vanished. Noticing her face change, Emily Thompson gently suggested, "Maybe we should head out." Lily Anderson glared, annoyed. Leave. I haven't even finished eating. Then, unexpectedly, she pulled Samuel Carter closer and said to Bella Maxwell, let me borrow Samuel Carter for a bit, I'll return him soon. Samuel Carter had no choice but to sit beside Lily Anderson, and she leaned in and whispered, feed me. Samuel Carter looked over at Bella Maxwell in confusion, and she just smiled and nodded, listen to her. So Lily Anderson raised her voice intentionally, I don't want to eat anymore, I want to lose weight. Samuel Carter gently replied, come on, you need to eat. How can you not eat? You're perfect right now, gain a bit and you'd be chubby, lose a bit and you'd be too thin. Why would you need to lose weight? Even Lin Qiling from Taiwan doesn't have a better figure than you. Listen to me, just eat. Lily Anderson smiled contentedly, all right, but you have to feed me. Samuel Carter gently responded, okay, I'll feed you. This affectionate scene didn't go unnoticed by the envious eyes of the people around them, especially Lily Anderson's ex-husband, John Chen, sitting not far away. Even Bella Maxwell teased, pretending to be jealous, gritting her teeth and saying, just wait and see how I'll deal with the two of you later. Soon enough, John Chen also noticed Lily Anderson and her friends. Emily Thompson, as if she had discovered something new, smiled brightly and waved, oh, John Chen, what a coincidence. You're here too. Must be fate. John Chen smiled awkwardly, clearly uncomfortable. The woman with him, a person Lily Anderson knew all too well, looked over and whispered softly, maybe we should move to a different table, honey.